Hey guys, Blackout Bill here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a quick, easy, cool little fun with carbs video. Not fun at all. I had a nightmare trying to figure out what's going on, but I wanted to show you the thought processes and how I was learning what I was doing. These carbs have already been on the motors. You guys have seen the footage of the different performancing of the two different ones. I wanted to show you guys what went into putting these carbs together to figure out what would work best for the boat. I wanted to thank every single one of you. I know I've been through the subscriber thing. I hit 1,000 and the money is actually rolling in. I didn't even realize what a difference from 100 to 1,000 subscribers the ad money is generating. It's by no means leaps and bounds. I'm not buying a new yacht anytime soon, but I mean to help my family, so I truly appreciate everyone who subscribed. I did mention I would never mention the subscribe thing again, but now that I got the subscribers and the views, I need everybody to view and like the video, so like the video! But in any case, just enjoy the content. I'm always working on getting better. Apologize for the sporadic posting. Wintertime, there's not much I can do in the way of projects. I do have a ton of projects, so I'm going to be posting some videos on what is coming up. I do have a bunch of projects getting ready to start. That's all going to determine on if I can get my work area clean. We're going to have a fun video on the issue that I'm having because I'm starting to switch over from collector to hoarder, so we have to clean out some inventory, work out some things, but we're gonna get right back to you. The next couple videos should be fun. I appreciate every single one of you. You have no idea how happy I am that I'm at 1,000 and that I'm done with that. But now let's like the videos. Let's take a look. Comment below. Let me know if you guys like, hate, whatever. I love the constructive criticism. As always, keep it positive, and thank you for watching. Let's get to it. What stinks is I got my carburetor kit in the mail, and look what's in it. That dang slow speed. I think I paid $8 for the little rubber piece that goes into the slow speed needle, and I got these two kits for 11. Ay. Hey guys, Blackout Bill here. I'm gonna do something a little different today. I would title this Fun with Carburetors, but I'm not having any fun. Okay, so here's our dilemma. We get the 35 horsepower. Now, I took the carburetor apart because I forgot the fuel line, and it was attached. Now, I was going to use this cool bowl with the electric choke. I thought that'd be fun. But when I blew into the bottom of it, air was going through, upside down. So that tells you that the seat isn't working. So when I took it apart, I realized, I was thinking, I actually heard the noise coming from the side of the bowl, so I said, I think my carburetor bowl gasket's bad. Sure enough, it was cork and crappy. So I took it apart, got my new kit in, I got my gasket, and I'm looking at it, I'm saying cool, and now I'm looking over here, here's my carburetor, and I see my gasket's got the hole for this on the side. Well, they did a bad job of cutting this gasket too. Shit. Anyway. So I look at my bowl and there's no. That's where my air's escaping. I think that's a passageway and this bowl doesn't have that passageway. I got this bowl. I don't remember even having a motor with an electric choke. I have no idea where the bowl came from. I don't know, whatever. So I can't use my electric choke. It really stinks. But now what I'm wondering is, okay, so here's the original carburetor off the motor. And the reason I got a new one, well, I had a new one lying around. I checked eBay. I didn't see me buying one unless I'm looking in the wrong spot. So here's the old one. It was too rusty to reuse. And the part number does match up, 328093. Now, a lot of times these aren't part numbers, these are just casting numbers for the carburetor, so sometimes they don't match up. But it does say D3, and when you search eBay, you will find D3 and that part number is for a 35. And it looks period correct. It's got the big long tube through the center, and I'm just looking at the throat of the diameter of the carb, and it looks okay. But I can't use this one, so when I went into my collection, I found this carburetor. And again, I'm not 100% sure where I got this carburetor from. But the reason I went to use it on this motor is because it's identical. The throat diameter is the same. Everything is the same about it with the exception of this screw hole. And the linkage? Yeah, the linkage is different. Now I'm just noticing. And you can adjust the linkage on this carburetor here. This one, not so much. You have to, it's a little different. So what scares me is I'm worried this came off a 25 horsepower motor, but I have all my 25 horsepower carburetor motors. And none of them I never had a 35 horse. I had the older Johnsons, and that's a different carb setup. It's got the slow speed needle and a high speed needle. And none of them have this matching, this front setup. So I'm concerned this is a 25 horsepower carburetor. Now the back of it lines up, and the front of it has the same size throat. The only difference would be that Venturi going through the center.
Okay, boys and girls, you're going to hear me refer to the brass tube in the middle as a Venturi. The carburetor Venturi, or as I keep calling it, the throat diameter, is the middle part of the carb where it bevels in. That's the Venturi. The size of the Venturi determines how much air is going through the carburetor. I keep calling that brass tube a Venturi because that's what I thought it was. I did some research. That is not the case, and no one can actually tell me what that is. There's no part name for it. I've heard people call it a tube. I've heard people call it a fuel delivery tube, a emulsion tube, which seems to be the most logical. An emulsion tube, it sucks the fuel from the bottom of the bowl by air passing over the top of it. So in the future, when you hear me say Venturi, I'm referring to the brass tube or the emulsion tube, or some people even call it a high-speed jet. And I will note with text as to what I'm talking about. I apologize. Thanks for learning and sticking with me.
So I'm thinking this is 35 horse, and I'm thinking as long as your orifice plug at the bottom is good, you're correct. Now what I'm saying there is, so I got the two bowls, and both of them had a high-speed jet. Okay, I will show you the high-speed jet, because I have it right here. Oh, almost lost it right there. Is this it? Alright, now this says 72 on it. Alright. This says 72 on it, cast it on the side of it, and this one says 59D. And if you look through it in the light, let's see if we can get the sun involved here. You guys are going to hate this shot. Okay. Alright. There we go. The 72 looks bigger. Okay. This is where I'm concerned, scared. I have no idea what to do. Now, this 72 casing part number goes with a 25 horsepower 69 Evinrude. So I think this came out of a 25, pretty sure this came out of a 25 horsepower carburetor. Alright, but according to my motor, my part number for my carburetor on my motor, this 59D is the plug for the 35 horsepower. Now this is the original bowl off the 35. This is the original plug off the 35. So this high-speed jet has to be correct because I didn't get the bowl with the carburetor. This carburetor came with a different bowl. This is the original bowl that came off this guy. I don't know how they are so... Now I'm even more petrified. So the original carburetor's got the hole for the bowl hole for the bowl. I mean, you want to talk about lost. I am as lost as any individual can be. And now I'm looking at it, now I'm thinking it's not the original bowl. Wait, time out. Didn't have an electric choke. Okay, maybe I installed the electric choke. Okay, here's what happened. Wait, so then you're telling me that this is period correct. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Alright, so... yeah, I don't know. That don't look like that was ever together either. I have no idea where the bowl, it's downstairs. I don't know where the bowl is. This carburetor's got a spot for the passageway, but no passageway. So I took this, like I said, long story short, short story long. This jet, the 59D, belongs with my motor. So this, I thought this bowl came off this carburetor. I'm not sure. I really don't. So what I'm getting at here is I'm afraid this won't work. Or I'm afraid this isn't a 35 horsepower carburetor. I mean, it's got the same throat diameter as this. It doesn't have the Venturi. And now I got an extra passageway here. This carburetor's got it's a little bit different. It's got this passageway here. And I got this bowl that has the passageway for the high speed. So my thought, I got a thought now. Maybe you guys can answer this. Fuel enters the bowl, goes through the high speed. Now this bowl has high speed orifice. It goes up through this passageway into the carburetor, into that hole. Is it possible that this carburetor, with this bowl, high speed, instead of going through the passageway and up and blocking, went up through that Venturi? Is that what that little skinny pole is for? Slow speed needle idle. Could be putting fuel, that could be your slow speed setting. I don't know. Okay, it's funny because I did all the research prior to this video. And as I'm talking to you, I'm realizing, I'm just realizing more and more and more. So here's what my thoughts are. I think this came on the original because the part number on BRP Parts Catalog shows this electric choke setup, but I don't think this motor had an electric choke. I think I added this from a 35, not a 35, or the 30. One of my motors had an electric choke and I never used it. I forget what I did with it, but I think I added that later. So here's what we're gonna do, and I want to hear this. I want to hear him below. I need an expert, my AOMC guys to chime in here. I don't know how this carburetor works. I don't know how this carburetor works. I don't know why this has that big thing in the middle and why this one doesn't. What I do know, we're gonna run with basic common sense and pray that I get lucky, is these throat diameters are the same. Now I can't measure them. I cannot measure them with my calipers. But the more I look at it, the more I am convinced that is the same size. See how it goes in that little bit? It's the same. I know this carburetor came off this motor. It's the same. I remember doing this a while back. It's the same. It's got to be the same. We have nothing else to work with. So what we're going to do is, once we put everything together and get this thing on the water with any luck, we'll do speed checks. And then if I feel like I'm underperforming, I will get a 35 horsepower carburetor. Okay, so yeah, that being said, when you search this carburetor on eBay and parts, there is a part number here casted in here, 315082. It's on the inside of it. This carburetor, when you search that part number, it's coming up 50, 60 horsepower motors that have dual carbs, like tops and bottoms. It don't look, that's like newer stuff, so I don't remember this kind of linkage, which is bent now that I'm looking at it. But it's always something. Yeah, straightened it out, made it worse. So, I'm trying to think of an older 70s motor with a 65 horsepower that had two carbs like this. That's what I'm showing. I'm showing 65. But what I also know is I don't think I can use this style bowl without that passageway. Even, this carb showing this is telling me that these are meant to be. We're not going to use that. So we're just going to go with the old common sense. It looks like the same. We're going to assume that passageway runs fuel. you know, from the bowl up in, oh, there's your, yeah, there you go, passageway. It looks like this channel here leads to the top, to the low speed. So, again, common sense only, that Venturi runs from the bowl up to the low speed, the idle. So the only problem we're going to have is, you know, is this 25 horsepower? Or is it a smaller diameter throat, which, you know, I'm just naked eyes telling me I can't see it, into something worse? You know, 220, you know, is it a 50 horsepower with 225 carbs? I don't know. I don't know how dual carburetors work on motors. But I do know that this 35 horsepower jet is correct with the 35 horsepower motor. And I know that this 72 jet, even though it looks bigger, goes on a 25 horsepower carburetor with the 72. So I'm not going to use a 25 horsepower jet. We're going to run with the jet that worked with what I still think is the original bowl, okay? And I know that I pulled that jet out of this bowl, or the bowl out of the carburetor from the motor. So we're gonna assemble this carburetor, and then you'll see the video of me reassembling the motor and see if we can get it started. So, okay, in addition, this kind of makes me feel better, and I also had a thought. There's the 25 horsepower off the donator motor that's really coming in clutch. And I would use this choke system, but you need you need the actual top of the carburetor, and you can see the difference in the holes. How much smaller the 25 is restricted. So that was one of my thoughts was, look how small that 25 is compared to this one. That makes me think this is definitely not 25. It's definitely going to support a 35. And I think we're going to be good with this one. I really do. Yeah, so here's a 25, 100% guaranteed, came off a 25 horsepower motor. And you can just see it. You can definitely see it. It's a lot smaller even the face is smaller, and usually you can't go by that. Oh, that was my thought. So, if I'm right, I think this carb came off a 25 horsepower motor. But I think in the 60s and 70s, the difference was the jet. That's what I think. I think they used, because I keep hearing stories of guys putting 35 horsepower carbs on 25 horsepower motors, or not even doing that, just changing the jet. I've heard that before. I've heard that some people were just changing the jet inside. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is a 25 horsepower carb, and the original bowl had the 25 horsepower jet. So that's what I think. Like I said, matching it up to the other carburetor, this looks right. It's just an older style. This, as crappy it is a newer style. That's why it's got the tube up the middle, and the older style didn't have the tube. It had the passageway. So I guess they got smart, got rid of the passageway, and did it more of a direct shot. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm not gonna lie to you, based on what I'm looking at, I think that's what it is. So let's get this guy, let's get it on the motor. What do we got to lose, baby? Thanks for enduring this fun little carburetor chat. And please, experts, even guys that just have a theory, comment below. I'm learning, and I've done all my iBoats research. I'm not showing 100% definitive that this is a 35 horsepower carburetor, because they all have that Venturi that runs up the side. So if you guys know something I don't, please. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. I wish I could get the YouTube video of the guy who ends up getting my motor one day. I want to see his reaction when he goes, let's take this carburetor apart with 3 different period type carburetor bowl screws. This is an older style. This is, the old Evinrudes had the rounded tops. This is more of a newer style of flatheads, and they're 3 different types. So yeah, good luck taking this bowl apart, trying to figure out what the hell happened here.